This video brings an urgent spiritual message that Jesus specifically wants you to hear right now. There's a woman whose life is ending soon, and in the spirit realm, she's saying that you did this to her. This isn't just another spiritual video. It contains a revelation about unresolved spiritual debt that could change everything. Jesus is deeply concerned that you might dismiss this critical message without understanding its spiritual importance. The revelation you're about to receive has been arranged to reach you at this exact moment. Before it's too late, there's a divine appointment happening right now as you watch this. Don't scroll away, because what you're about to learn involves spiritual accountability that very soon could reach you through earthly authorities. Jesus needs you to understand the spiritual connection between your past actions and this woman's current condition. This isn't an ordinary spiritual message. It's a divine alert about spiritual accountability that's about to manifest in the physical realm. Jesus has been watching your spiritual interactions with others throughout your life, noticing both your kind moments and your harmful ones. Missing this particular warning could mean facing unexpected spiritual consequences when earthly authorities become involved. This represents a limited time spiritual window that's closing rapidly as this woman's life comes to an end. Jesus cares so deeply about your spiritual standing that he would be genuinely worried if you failed to recognize this opportunity to make things right. That's why this message found you today. Your attention to this video isn't by chance. It's a divinely orchestrated moment designed to help you see spiritual debts that have been accumulating, but you might have been completely unaware of their serious nature. Every time you've hurt someone without fully realizing the spiritual impact has been recorded in heaven. Every unresolved conflict from your past that still carries spiritual weight has been acknowledged. All the times you've felt guilty about your actions toward others, yet didn't know how to make things right, have been honored. Your regrets about past relationships haven't gone unnoticed. Those moments when you knew your words or actions hurt someone but you never apologized. Jesus saw your internal conflict. The times when your conscience bothered you about someone you wronged, yet you pushed those feelings aside. That spiritual awareness was recognized in heaven. The weight you've carried from knowing you damaged someone's life more than you intended has been deeply understood. The questions about spiritual debts you've wondered about, sometimes too heavy to share with others, have all been acknowledged by Jesus in preparation for this revelation. The spiritual accusation Jesus wants you to recognize appears in dreams, where this woman confronts you, or in sudden guilt about someone from your past. This spiritual debt shows up in unexplained anxiety when you think about certain relationships, or in a strong feeling that someone blames you for their suffering. It appears in that woman's face suddenly coming to your mind, in memories that won't leave you alone, or in guilt that surfaces when you're trying to pray. This spiritual debt is uniquely connected to your specific past actions, something Jesus has allowed to surface because time is running out. It connects directly to the harm you caused and the prayers this woman has been praying about you. Jesus is revealing this particular spiritual debt because it speaks to your conscience in a language only you would fully understand. The window to address this before earthly consequences arrive won't remain open much longer. When you finally recognize who this woman is, you'll know exactly what you did to her. When you recognize this spiritual debt and take action to address it, many puzzling feelings of guilt you've carried will suddenly find resolution. Unexplained anxiety, recurring dreams about past conflicts, and spiritual weight you've been carrying will all connect in a beautiful moment of divine clarity and freedom. Jesus has hopeful news for you today. Your spiritual awareness about how your actions affect others is growing stronger, and important opportunities for making amends are becoming available to you now. The divine has noticed your capacity for taking responsibility, and now you've been chosen to receive this chance for spiritual restoration. This moment marks something significant in your spiritual maturity. It's a clear indication that your conscience is divinely guided and growing more sensitive every day. Something incredibly meaningful is unfolding in your understanding of spiritual accountability, far deeper than you might have imagined possible. The recognition of this spiritual debt begins a spiritual cleansing that will touch every area of your life, transforming how you treat others and how you handle guilt. There's a wave of heavenly attention surrounding your spiritual debts right now. You're becoming more spiritually attuned to how your actions affect others, naturally drawing divine conviction into your daily awareness. Recognizing this accusation from the dying woman brings heightened awareness of Jesus' concern for everyone you've ever hurt. More spiritual insights about taking responsibility for past harm will begin flowing to you than ever before. This isn't happening by chance. It's a carefully arranged opportunity designed specifically for this critical time, before earthly consequences catch up with spiritual ones. Your prayers asking for forgiveness matter more than you realize. Your growing spiritual sensitivity inspires heaven to reveal unresolved debts before they become legal matters. Your conscience makes a difference in the spiritual atmosphere around past relationships. This divine revelation shows that Jesus deeply values when you take responsibility for spiritual wounds you've caused. Each moment of regret you've felt has developed your ability to recognize this serious spiritual debt that needs immediate attention. The timing of this spiritual revelation is no coincidence. It comes now because you're spiritually ready to face the truth and take action. This precise moment has been divinely chosen because you've grown in spiritual maturity and moral courage. Your spiritual eyes are now open enough to see spiritual debts that might have been invisible to you before. Your heart has expanded through your own suffering. Your wisdom about taking responsibility has deepened through life experience. Your soul is now prepared to receive this difficult spiritual truth more clearly than ever before. All the guilt you've wrestled with has been preparation for recognizing this serious spiritual debt. Nothing in your spiritual journey has been wasted. Every experience of conscience has shaped your ability to recognize spiritual accountability when it appears. This particular revelation about the dying woman is connected to larger spiritual justice happening right now. Jesus is revealing similar spiritual debts to those who are spiritually alert and ready to make things right before it's too late. If you're feeling convicted by this divine revelation about spiritual accountability, please consider sending a super thanks of $5, $10, $20, or more to support our channel's mission of sharing these important messages of spiritual responsibility. Your generosity helps these divine revelations reach those who desperately need to address their spiritual debts. When you give, you participate in a sacred exchange that allows us to continue creating content that connects people with heaven's call for spiritual accountability in these critical times. As you begin to recognize this spiritual debt to the dying woman, new awareness about spiritual accountability will naturally develop in your life. This clearer vision brings new responsibilities, not just to this woman, but to everyone you've ever hurt who might still be carrying wounds from your actions. Don't view these responsibilities as burdens, but as sacred opportunities to participate in Jesus' work of spiritual restoration. This revelation signals it's time to step into spiritual maturity and take full responsibility for your impact on others. Finding courage becomes essential during this spiritually challenging time. While addressing this specific debt to the woman whose life is ending, remember to nurture your faith through prayer, confession, and community support. These spiritual disciplines have shaped who you are and will continue to support you as you grow into this expanded role as someone who takes spiritual accountability seriously. Jesus is inviting you to become more than just someone who receives conviction, but a person who actively makes spiritual amends. As you become aware of this spiritual debt, think about how you can help others who are carrying similar spiritual burdens from their past. Your experience shows that Jesus is constantly revealing unresolved spiritual matters, even when we try to forget or ignore them. Heaven witnesses every moment when someone takes responsibility for spiritual harm they've caused. Your story of recognizing this debt to the dying woman brings hope to people feeling guilty about their own past actions or wondering if spiritual debts ever really go away. Your awareness becomes a light that helps others develop courage to face what Jesus is revealing about their own spiritual accountability. This revelation about your spiritual debt isn't meant to be private shame. It's an invitation to help others experience the same spiritual cleansing through taking responsibility. Jesus often works through those who have recently faced their spiritual debts to help awaken others who are still avoiding theirs. Your newfound awareness serves as both personal spiritual freedom and ministry opportunity for helping others find the courage to make things right. As you navigate this new level of spiritual accountability awareness, stay consistently alert to how your actions affect others. Jesus reminds you that while recognizing one's spiritual debt is important, it's just the beginning of a lifetime of taking responsibility for your impact on people around you. Maintain the spiritual sensitivity that allowed you to see this debt to the dying woman in the first place. Guard against returning to spiritual blindness that made you miss the serious impact of your past actions. Let your accountability awareness continue to flow from genuine repentance and daily attention to Jesus' guidance about treating others right. With this new ability to recognize spiritual debts comes ongoing responsibility to prevent creating new ones. Use this gift wisely to discern when your actions might be causing spiritual harm to others. Not every conflict creates lasting spiritual debt, but Jesus will make truly serious spiritual wounds unmistakable. Embrace this journey of spiritual responsibility with both humility and decisive action, showing others that recognizing spiritual debts comes from staying connected to Jesus' heart for justice and mercy. Picture a future where you consistently address spiritual debts before they accumulate into serious spiritual consequences. Imagine divine peace surrounding all your past relationships, spiritual restoration happening precisely when needed, and your understanding of spiritual accountability expanding beyond anything you've experienced before. Jesus stands with you, encouraging you to embrace this journey of making things right with complete courage. This is truly your moment to experience deeper spiritual freedom through addressing the debt to this dying woman whose accusations have reached heaven's attention. This marks the beginning of a time when your spiritual responsibility, wisdom, and heart will be more aligned with heaven's justice than ever before. Accept this opportunity with gratitude, and remember that you're surrounded by divine support on this journey of spiritual restoration. The path ahead holds countless opportunities to experience Jesus' guidance through conscience that will become increasingly clear to your spiritually attuned heart. What peace awaits as you learn to address spiritual debts quickly before they become serious spiritual or legal matters. If this message about spiritual accountability has awakened your conscience, please consider blessing our channel with a super thanks of $5, $10, $20, or whatever amount feels right to you. Your support creates a beautiful spiritual exchange and allows us to continue sharing these divine revelations about spiritual responsibility with those who need them most. Your generosity helps fund our mission to help others recognize the spiritual debts Jesus is revealing in these critical times. If you're ready to acknowledge that you recognize the dying woman's spiritual accusation and commit to taking action, type 999 in the comments below as your declaration of spiritual accountability. The journey of addressing spiritual debts continues beyond this revelation about the dying woman. As you step into new spiritual accountability, stay grounded in prayer and confession that keep your conscience sharp and responsive. Every spiritual debt you address could be the exact example Someone else has been waiting to see about facing their own spiritual responsibilities. Your growing spiritual sensitivity serves as inspiration for others wondering if spiritual debts from the past really matter to Jesus today. Move forward with a repentant heart, a responsive mind, and a courageous spirit ready to make things right when spiritual debts are revealed. Create opportunities for others to address their spiritual debts as you experience the freedom coming from facing yours honestly. The spiritual language of accountability and restoration has always been part of how Jesus works with those who love Him. By choosing to face this difficult spiritual truth about the dying woman's accusation, you join a long tradition of faithful people who have learned to take responsibility for their spiritual impact on others before earthly consequences arrive.